Hi there, Chad and Scarlett.
Hey, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
How is everybody doing?
Good, thank you.
Perfect. It's time
Oh,
to start booking cruises.
it is a time to start booking cruises, but I do want to take a moment to thank our listeners on our podcast series, as well as our viewers on our YouTube channels. And welcome to our Sail Like a Celebrity event. You're busy, aren't you, Chad?
After a couple of years of Canadians not really getting to go anywhere, it's unbelievable the volume of guests and clients from Western Canada that are just out there booking their next vacation.
That's right. And to save everybody some time, we usually like to do these events in person, don't we, Scarlett? We usually at
We
the
do.
office. But
We do.
we know everybody is busy these days, and sometimes we like to leverage some new ideas here. And you can share this recordings with your friends, and they can learn a little bit more about Celebrity and why they would want to book it with an Expedia Cruises, either in West Vancouver or in North Vancouver, because we are in your backyards, we're in your communities. We have been in your communities for over the last 30 years. And we have a number of experts in our offices that are Celebrity certified to service celebrities like you. And Chad, like the folks behind you in your picture there. Fantastic. Well, I just also want to ask you a couple of things here, Chad, as we get going to this. Recently, Celebrity just announced a new deployment for cruises around the world. Now, how long would it take us to talk about all the different deployments that you have?
Well, I think that would be an hour on our own just talking about the where you can go and how we do it. But I guess the short answer is all of our cruises are open for 2023. We're actually open for all of 2024, and we're even open for early 2025. And we recognize that there are some folks that are ready to go tomorrow on their next holiday, and other people are forward planning into maybe 2024. And either case, we've got cruises ready to go tomorrow or next year. So all of that deployment is open. And for you guys, our partners at Expedia Cruises, you actually hold more group block space with Celebrity than any other travel agency out there, which means better pricing, whether it is 23 or 24.
Pricing and amenities.
Mhm.
So let's get a little focused here on some of the destinations. We all have our favorites out there. Scarlett, if you were to go to Europe this summer, where would you like to go?
That's a good question. I think my favorite and a lot of my customers' favorite is the Mediterranean. Hitting the Greek Isles is always popular.
Right, so the Greek Isles on a Celebrity cruise. Chad, what can you tell us a little bit about what could we experience when we take a Celebrity cruise to the Greek Isles?
Well, one of the things that I would strongly recommend is that, I mean, we've got absolutely tons of Eastern and Western Mediterranean voyages to look at. A lot of people actually do them as back to back, so you can have a longer European vacation experience with us. But I think one of the things I'd like to highlight is that a great combo is to do Italy, head down to Turkey and the Greek Isles with us, and then up into the Adriatic, where you would do Kotar and Koper and Dubrovnik, and really see an incredibly special part of the world. Because as it relates to our Europe itineraries, and again, we've got a ton of Europe product to choose from, but some very special commentary and very high survey ratings from our guests seems to always come back around that whole Adriatic, Greek island, Italy combo. So there's no itinerary that I don't love in Europe. That's probably my favorite destination to ever travel to. But overnight stays is another big thing that really sets us apart in Europe, because we know that when you are experiencing some of the Greek islands or other great ports of call in Europe, the last thing that you want to do is be told that you got to leave at 3 p.m., which some other lines do. We have a real focus and commitment to that overnight stay strategy of having nighttime tourism, destination immersion, and seeing these destinations in the evening hours is a big part of why you go to Europe. And we actually offer more overnight stays than any other cruise line.
Exactly. So yeah, overnight stays, staying longer in port, leaving later, seeing those sunsets. That would be so beautiful on a ship or even in town, having a little bite to eat as the sun sets, and you don't have to rush back and worry about your getting back to your ship on time. Although you still need to get back to it. Now, I think you have a couple newer vessels in the Med.
I
Do you
was
not?
just going to ask that. Yes.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that celebrities really put the pedal to the metal on over the last few years was building the most luxurious ships in the industry and the most expensive. They come in at $1.4 billion
Ooh.
each. There are new Edge series ships. And for those of you that pay attention to travel blogs or take a look at the new brochures that are coming out, you'll see what these ships are all about. These are our Edge series. It's the Celebrity Beyond, the Celebrity Apex, the Celebrity Edge. The Ascent is open for sale now because we'll be taking delivery of the Ascent. But these are truly high-end luxury floating relaxed resorts at sea. That's really what these are. And just to put it into perspective for you, Time Magazine does a edition each year of the world's greatest places. And these are kind of some of those places that I think Time Magazine is saying, make sure you see this before you die. And if you're talking about the pyramids or Machu Picchu, celebrities Edge series ships were actually mentioned by Time Magazine as one of the world's greatest places, and we're not even a place, we're cruise ships, but
There. The
that really says
destination is
something.
the cruise ship sometimes.
It really is with those ships. So even for our tried and true celebrity guests that might be listening to this today, if you have not yet had the opportunity to experience the Celebrity Edge series ships, it's a whole different caliber of cruise experience, and we really encourage you to make that your next selection wherever you go in the world. But we do move all three of our brand new Edge series ships into Europe for the summer months because out of all of our deployment, we are very global. Europe is our biggest focus out of anything that we do, and we have more than half of our fleet of ships there positioned for the summer months.
Wonderful. So the secret here, I think, Scarlett, is we need them to book early to get onto these ships because they probably are filling, are they not?
We're back to having full ships. It's a beautiful thing. We didn't see that for a few years during the pause, but early is not just better to kind of secure your spot. Early is also better to access the special rates that Expedia has with us. And there are, you know, I'm running reports where I look at some of the Expedia pricing you guys have access to versus the celebrity website pricing. And in cases, we're not even talking about hundreds, we're talking about thousands of dollars different because you had locked in your rates so early and got to hold it while the market rate still went up. So definitely in
Yeah.
everybody's best interest to book early.
That's right. Scarlett, would you be able to describe a little bit about our EES program that we have and what Chad was talking about when it comes to those locked in exclusive offers?
Sure, I can expand on what Chad said. So we lock in our group rates very early on, and we hold space. And we only have a limited space. So those come at for many sailings, a very discounted rate. And it includes all of the amenities as well, like your beverage package and Wi-Fi and the crew incentives. So it is a very, very good offer that Expedia Cruises comes to the table with. And it's on sailings throughout your whole inventory.
That's right.
As well.
Yeah, with pricing going up, we see it everywhere, but we've been able to keep that pricing static and that doesn't get affected by inflation, doesn't get affected by interest rates or foreign exchanges. So we're locked in and we've got the best rates in town in many of the cases. Scarlett, I know you like to travel with family. Would you go to Alaska?
I did actually. I went to Alaska this past summer or early fall with Celebrity on the eclipse, actually September 4th. So it was another great experience with a Celebrity cruise. So I would highly recommend the Alaska itinerary. It's always popular. And for us, we're based out of Vancouver. It's so easy to get to.
We can we have our you and I both host sail away parties, right? And we get to wave at the ships as they go by, right?
Exactly.
As they leave Vancouver in our backyard. But Chad, what does an Alaska sailing look like from Vancouver, round trip from Vancouver?
Well, there's a couple of ways that I'd like to answer that question because first of all, I know a lot of I live on the North Shore as well, so we're all North Shore people here. But you know, a lot of my friends and family always tend to think, well, I live in British Columbia, Alaska's just right next door, so really, how different can it be? Anybody that's been to Alaska knows that there's a lot of difference, and I mean, once you start to really get up into the pristine waters of Alaska, and especially where there's just not a lot of population, you're talking about crystal clear waters. You're talking about getting right up at close to places like Hubbard Glacier to watch the glacier calving. The Alaska experience is alive and well when you do it with Celebrity. One of my favorite experiences ever, because I think I've done Alaska about 7 times now. My wife and our kids and myself, we were all on the Eclipse a few years ago, and it was evening chic night. So I was wearing a tuxedo, and my wife's in a beautiful cocktail dress, and we're at the martini bar. The kids are having their virgin mocktails, and you know, we're having our adult beverages. The sun is setting. We're on our way back to Vancouver from Alaska. And as the sun's setting and we're at the martini bar dressed up fairly formal, we look out the window and there's probably a pod of about 20 or 25 killer whales jumping. And I just thought, where do you get that kind of experience? And I mean, maybe sometime in their life, people have been on a Zodiac and seen killer whales like that, but probably not in tuxedos having a martini and getting ready to go out for dinner. Just such a really amazing experience. Even last week, when I was on the solstice, I opened my veranda window in the morning, and we were down in Cabo, and the whales were breaching right off the ship, and it's just a very special experience. So that's one way I'd like to answer it, because it really is worth the experience to get up there. But the other thing I just wanted to point out is that the world has changed dramatically since the pandemic and since kind of hotel and resort pricing opened up again. And what you tend to see, and I'll keep it even as a local reference, a lot of people kind of consider Celebrity Cruises as the floating Fairmont hotels and resorts. So we've got a gorgeous Fairmont property up in Whistler, the Chateau Fairmont Whistler. I love staying there. It's a great property. I think they're very close to kind of how we are as a brand. But one thing that is really interesting is that if you took a look at the Chateau Fairmont Whistler's pricing in 2017, 2018, early 2019, compared to what it is right now, I don't know if it's fully doubled, but maybe almost. So a lot of hotels have dramatically increased kind of what their pricing looks like. Whereas when we have done a comparison of what our pricing looks like, we're still at our 2018, 2019 levels. And the average price for an Alaska cruise for somebody buying it locally and going for the week is about $160 per person per day. So if you times two, it's $320. That's actually less than one night at the Chateau Fairmont in Whistler. But that $320, that's less than the Chateau Whistler night. If I went downstairs and had a steak dinner at the Chateau Whistler, I'm paying for it. If I want a martini, I'm paying for it.
Exactly. Well, what I like about this, the analogy is perfect, but I like even better on the vessels and the ships of Celebrity. I don't have to figure out where I'm going to go for dining. It's walking distance. I don't have to walk the village and have to figure all that component out. It's figured out for me. Perfect. Now, Chad, I'll ask this last question for you. For those based here on the rainy West Coast this winter and spring and stuff, where could we go to soak it up in the sun destinations? What would you suggest as being the prime sun destination sailing?
So I would definitely recommend heading to the Caribbean with us. And I would say if you can arrange it in your calendars to take a look at the 10 or 11 night Southern Caribbean voyages that we have. We've seen a trend where people are going a little bit longer. And so while we do offer a lot of 7-day Caribbean programs, we also have a lot of 8-day, 9-day, 10, 11
Wow.
day. And the Southern Caribbean, I mean, it's all about personal preference, but for me, who spent a lot of time cruising the Caribbean, I personally love the Southern Caribbean islands. And to do an itinerary that's longer than 7 nights, it's funny, it's only 3 extra nights, but man, does that ever really allow you to a little bit more time to fully decompress, recharge, relax. And I remember my wife saying on our last 10 days, she's like, we're never doing a 7-day again. I want the 10 days. This is how life should feel. So that would be my
The
pick.
the airfare is the same price whether it's a 7-day or a 10-day, right, Scarlett?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you've touched something else. You've touched on something new here. You talked about unwinding, relaxing, and stuff. Can you tell us what this retreat is all about?
Yeah, the retreat experience is, I think a lot of people know that cruise ships have beautiful upscale accommodations when you buy into their suites. But I think where maybe we were lost in translation is that it's not just about buying a bigger, nicer accommodation. It's about how you're going to get treated and what VIP amenities or experiences come along with it. And so we changed the name from kind of suites to the retreat experience because we wanted people to understand in every single way that we could recognize you as a VIP and look after you. That was going to be our commitment. And whether that meant, and so first of all, the accommodation choices, there's lots of suite choices based on square footage to fit everybody's budget. So it's not that staying in the retreat is only for the rich and famous. I think it's affordable for anybody, and it does have lead-in rates into Sky Suites, etc. But where it really starts to shine is that everything is just built in. So upgrade to the premium beverage package for all the top shelf wines and beers and spirits. That's just included. Unlimited Wi-Fi, that's going to be included for you. Your prepaid gratuities. There's onboard credit so that you can pay for some spa experiences for yourself or shore excursions. But then all the little touches too, like for example, we actually built a very high-end specialty dining restaurant exclusively for our guests in the retreat called Luminier. And Luminier is a Michelin-starred chef in all of these restaurants for those menus. So it's exceptional culinary in there. But we are known as a culinary cruise line, so we have lots of other specialty dining restaurants to enjoy as well. If you are staying in the retreat, you don't have to pay to experience any of them. It's just unlimited complimentary. And then even little touches like on evening chic night when you're getting dressed up and looking fabulous, you might want to kind of extend your dinner and maybe you're having a drink and you don't want to be running to that great entertainment and show that you want to catch. So we actually have priority, the best seats in the theater
Ooh.
reserved for you so that you can just arrive at your leisure and know you've got the best seats in the house. But you name it on a list of what you find important, whether that's priority, boarding or priority shore excursions, whatever it is, we've made sure to come to the table to make people feel special.
So what you're saying is I could identify like Tom Cruise by staying at the retreat?
I think that a lot of people feel it's beyond their price point, and when they actually do the
But it's
math on everything that gets included in it, especially on the leading categories of the retreat, the gap between something like a veranda or an AQUA class stateroom and the retreat experience, it's not that big a gap. And when you do the math on the additional value, I think it's actually there in spades. And it's part of why as we've kind of been restarting the travel industry, we're seeing more people book retreat than we've ever seen previously.
That's right. And there's only so many staterooms available. And I think you touched on an important thing here, which distinguishes Scarlett and my consultants is really that's what a consultant will walk you through, right? Yes, you can get it for bare bones, but you're going to pay for it as you get off the ship at the end of the day. Or the consultants who are trained and certified with Celebrity and within our own organizations, Expedia, we can walk you through this and we can give you the full picture behind this, something that you don't get from online purchases, right, Scarlett?
I agree with you. And another thing in regards to the retreat is very, very popular. And going back to booking early, especially if you want those retreat staterooms, they sell out probably the first ones off the ship. I have just run into a few incidences where there aren't any staterooms left in the retreat, and they're booking, you know, far enough in advance, but not far enough. So it's important to book early again, especially for those retreat
And you
staterooms.
know, I was just down escorting a group of VIP travel agents to experience the celebrity brand. And Scarlett, I know that we had one of your West Vancouver agents on with us, and they went out and dined in specialty dining, her and her husband, and they dined in Murano. And one of the things that she felt very compelled to make sure to let everybody know was that her husband's experience of dining in Murano with us in our specialty, he said, was absolutely for sure in the top 10 meals he'd ever had in his life. And so it's not just about the value of the experience, but I think it's about things that really have impact. And if somebody comes away from one of my cruises and says, that was one of the best dining experiences I've ever had in my entire life, then we did our job well.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, cruise ships, vacationing, we do have to talk about the food on board. And I'm sure Celebrity's won a few awards about this. What's it like? Now, there's main dining. Everybody has main dining. You're going to have like the Lido deck dinings. You're going to have your pizzas and your burgers and stuff like this. But can you describe for us a little bit about the unique restaurant that you've got on board?
Yeah, so, you know, one of the things that Celebrity's always been known for is some of the most luxurious ships in the industry. We've always had more square footage dedicated to spa, fitness, and vitality than other cruise lines. We've done really well with our entertainment. Certainly, we've been known for our service because we are a relaxed luxury brand and the service is excellent. But in terms of an area of focus in the last couple of years where we really wanted to develop this celebrity brand is that we wanted to become in the industry the best culinary supplier. And whether that meant compared to land or whether that meant compared to other cruise lines, we want 2023 to be the year that we sweep anything in our path that can be an award that you would win for culinary. The way that we do that, we've really upped our spend in terms of what we purchase for our ingredients on board. We don't have any pre-prepped food brought on board celebrity ships. Very few cruise lines can brag that, but for us, we only buy premium raw ingredients. We bring those on the ship, and our culinary team crafts that into the masterpieces in all of our restaurants. And just to put it into perspective, right down to our pasta noodles and our gelatos, those are handmade on board. So it also means that if you have dietary restrictions, we can cater to pretty much whatever you need because we don't have a big line of pre-prep food that we just have to put out. If you say, I've got a dietary restriction and this is what I need, we can pretty much cater to that because it's making from scratch.
Perfect. Yeah. So the high catering, making sure things are healthy. I know you're an active. I know Scarlett, you're active in sports as well. So we like to eat clean and eat fresh, and that's what we can get on the ship. So that's wonderful. What's your favorite bar on board, Chad?
Oh, for sure, it's the world-class bar. So
Of
Celebrity
course.
Cruises does an amazing job of talking about our martini bars, and the vibe is always awesome, and the people watching is awesome, and it's a great experience at the martini bars. But that's not usually where you find me because I love craft cocktails, and for any of your guests or clients that really enjoy higher end craft cocktails, really well prepared with the premium brands, I think that's the bar to check out. Or if you like the vibe of the martini bar, sometimes I'll go and grab my drink at the world class bar and take it down. But between those two, my favorite world class bar, and it's a great reason to upgrade into the premium beverage package so that all of the very top shelf drinks can just be complimentary for you on board.
Perfect. Scarlett, did you have a favorite restaurant when you did your Alaska trip?
Oh, the steakhouse. What is it called? The Tuscan Grill? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Tuscan
Yeah,
Grill.
that would be our favorite, probably. And like Chad, the bar that he mentioned is a winner as well, along with the martini bar. That it's got a vibe to it. You like to hang out there. That's where all the fun people are, and it just got a good vibe to it.
Absolutely. It is kind of nice. I think the bar is chilled, so your drinks don't warm up when you're sitting there. There's lots of traffic and people watching that goes on. So like all good things, we're coming to a closure, but I did want to give a moment to talk about the promotion that we have coming up for the next little while. Chad, what makes us at Expedia Cruises so special? What kind of offers do we have here?
Well, you guys are the Goliath of the travel industry. There is no bigger name or brand in travel than Expedia. And so the great thing about our partnership with each other is that it's a healthy partnership. We give more special deals, exclusive rates to Expedia Cruises than any other travel agency globally. I think for 2023, you have about 1,100 groups with us. And I think for 2024, you have 1,300. So it's a massive amount of group space that is held at better than Celebrity's website pricing. I think that in terms of the offer that we've got in the marketplace right now, we've got it's the most or the deepest, richest offer that we've ever had, because it was actually rolled out for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and we've kept it rolling. So it's kind of 3 layers deep. It's buy one, get 75% off the second one. So BOGO 75% savings would be layer 1. Layer number 2 is that you can get an additional up to $800 in savings as part of this offer. And then layer number 3 is plus an additional up to $800 of onboard credit. So BOGO 75 plus up to $800 of additional savings, plus up to $800 of onboard credit. And then when we work locally with the teams from Expedia Cruises West Van and in North Vancouver, we do put together some additional incentives as well. And so those additional incentives at the moment are an additional 100 on top of those first 3, an additional 100 onboard credit that comes from us locally to just stack on top for new bookings for Rand and above.
That's right. Now, you're probably listening to this at some other time in the future here or currently, but the West Vancouver, North Vancouver offer that Chad has described runs from January 18th to the 28th. So if you're listening to this afterwards, you can still reach out to us. We always have ongoing in-market offers and promotions, and what Scarlett talked about with our Expedia exclusive stateroom offers, we still have those. So if you've listened to this recording for the first time, don't worry, we do have you covered on that. Scarlett, you want to talk a little bit about best in class and why they want to work with us and not somebody else?
Why they want to work with Expedia Cruises? Well, our agents are fantastic. They're very knowledgeable. They're very passionate about travel.
They're travelers themselves, right?
They are travelers themselves. And many of our agents are avid celebrity cruisers. So they know the brand, and they are good advocates for the brand as well. So they will lead you in the right direction. They will find you the best sailing, the best ship and stateroom for you that meets all of your needs.
That's right.
And like we said earlier, we're right in your community, so they're easy to meet with, whether it's in person, online, or via email. They are there for you to help you.
That's right. We're high touch, we're in your community, and we're high knowledge. Everybody has gone through their significant training. We go through the annual training ongoing. So we keep current in the industry, and we keep current as to what's happening with Celebrity. Well, thank you, Scarlett, and thank you, Chad, for joining us on this wonderful little tour of the world that we can do with Celebrity. And we look forward to having you contact our offices. Contact information is here on your screens or in the posts here on our podcast. And thanks for listening, and thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for having us. Bon voyage, everyone.
Bon voyage. Bye for now.